I was pretty tight for cash, and honestly, I was pretty drunk too. I entered that old hotel building on a bet with my friend Tommy for an amount of money I'm ashamed to even say. The story goes that back in 1958, the hotel owner, who worked day in and day out and even resided there, went completely insane, believing he was stuck in some sort of time loop. He apparently went missing for 13 months, then his mangled body was found in the side alley of the hotel, after presumably diving out of the 26th floor stairwell window. His face was fairly disfigured from the injuries, but the coroner's picture showed his insane grin stretching across his face, and it gave all the detectives nightmares.
Since his death, there's been countless stories of ghost sightings, poltergeist happenings, and even reports that several people went missing after staying in his executive suite on the 49th floor. It became something of an urban legend, even drawing in the customers, until it eventually closed and shut its doors in 1975 after a murder suicide investigation that plummeted sales, and people just stopped going.
Now, I wasn't one to believe in all this ghostly shit or time loop bull, and perhaps the fact that I was a non-believer is actually the reason why I'm stuck in this mess. Emphasis on the word was, because, well, I'm a believer now. Okay, so pretty simple, bud. Enter the hotel via the stairwell fire door, which is already broken and open. Yes, thank you. Climb the stairs all the way to the top and take a selfie of yourself stood next to the 49th floor sign thingy. Simple, said Tommy, as he finished with a single clap of his hands and a closed-lipped grin. That's it. That is it, and when you get back with the photographic proof, or even a video if you want, I'll pay up. He tapped the left breast pocket of his jacket, indicating his wallet and money was there.
It was the middle of the night, like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm honestly not sure. Pitch black, deathly quiet, and completely lightless streets. I wasn't scared though, but let's just say basic human instinct took over, I can't stop smiling, and I suppose I gave the impression I was scared.
So, where are you gonna be? I mean, you gonna wait for me while I'm climbing these million stairs and apparently warding off evil spirits? I thought I'd managed to hide it under the humor, but Tommy saw straight through me, and a smug smile began to form in the corner of his mouth. Hey man, if you don't want to do it, or if you need me to hold your hand, you want me to wait at the bottom of the stairs and keep shouting, "Are you okay?" Then deals off and no payment. Again, he finished with a closed-lipped grin.
I exhaled loudly for pissed-off effect, slapped Tommy on the shoulder, and proudly walked across the road towards the alleyway. Alone. Before being engulfed by the shadows completely, I turned to look over my shoulder at Tommy again, and human instinct, I can't stop smiling, to see him attempting to keep his balance, and as he drunkenly slumped to the curb.
Okay, good. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. I continued into the shadows in search of the broken fire door that leads directly into the building, and rumor has it that some teenagers jimmied the door a couple of months ago, and the police, or whoever's job it is, have never sealed it up again.
I was just getting my phone out of my pocket for a light source when a loud and rusty creak from the right made my heart skip a beat or two. Jesus! A beam of light escaped through the narrow opening of the door. The fact that the hotel is abandoned and has absolutely no power didn't even enter my slightly intoxicated brain at the time. I was just happy for some light. I poked my fingers through and quickly pulled the door open. The light was pure and ultra-bright. It took me a moment for my eyes to adjust and stop squinting. I walked through the threshold with a smile. After all, I was expecting complete darkness.
The building didn't seem creepy at all. It was very clean and well decorated. Perhaps a bit out of date, but clean and smart all the same. As I ascended each platform and took note of what floor I was on, it progressively got colder, louder, and slightly windy. Must be a window open or broken somewhere. 23, 24, 25, 26. The 26th floor was particularly cold and windy. I didn't like that floor. I swear someone touched me on the leg as I made my way up to 27. Just the lightest of touches, but I swear I felt it.
I'll run down those steps on the way back. 32, 33, 34. I was getting pretty tired at this point. Apart from the potential leg touching, no other sign of ghosts or demons or anything supernatural had happened, and I was feeling pretty good with myself for making easy money out of my drunken friend. 40. Okay, yeah, pretty out of breath at this point, but I'd come too far to fail now. I decided to take a quick 30-second break, lean on the windowsill, and peer out to the window in search of Tommy.
I could very clearly make him out, but the guy sat next to him seemed kind of blurry. They were in full conversation, their arms waving and flailing in the air with drunken coordination, and continuously passing a bottle back and forth. Seemed harmless enough. "Got a new friend there, Tommy boy." It was weird to hear my own voice echo and bounce off the walls. I sucked in some more oxygen and continued on my mission. 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 48, 48. What the fuck? I stopped on the platform to catch my breath once more, leaning on my knees as if it would help my lungs absorb the oxygen quicker. I kept turning around and looking down the steps I had just scaled, looking up the stairwell to the steps yet to come. What the fuck? I climbed another set, 48. Another set, 48. I stopped and shook my head to myself. Surely I was just seeing things. I climbed another set, 48. Okay, that's it. Fuck this shit.
I swiftly ripped out my phone, took a strange-looking selfie of me in the brass plaque stating that I was on the 48th floor, and began descending the hell out of there. At least down is so much easier. 48. 48. 48. 48. 48. 48. 48. 48. 48. I went down 20 or 30 flights, baby, but each and every level the blast plaque still stated I was on the 48th floor. I went up and down them stairs, God knows how many times. Tried every single door at each level too, just in case one opened and I could escape a different way. Not a single door open though. They were all solidly locked, deadbolted, welted, cemented. Who knows, but them doors were not opening for anyone.
I can honestly tell you I had absolutely no idea what floor I was on. When the idea of phoning Tommy finally entered my mind, I guess I should have kept count of the moment I saw the second 48th plaque, but I was far too freaked out by then to plan that part. Yes, my phone had full signal. I quickly tapped and flicked through my contacts until I reached Tommy's number. I walked to the window as the phone began to ring. I could no longer see Tommy or his newfound friend. The phone was ringing in my ear over and over. My eyes widened as I scanned the dark streets back and forth, back and forth. There was no sign of Tommy, no sign of anyone. The phone continued to ring as I pulled it away from my ear. The screen lit up, showing me Tommy's name and number, and the end call button. I swiped the red icon and cut off the call. That's when I realized the time and date. 4:23 on the 9th of May, 2015. What? What the actual fuck? Okay, so firstly my phone is saying it's nearly 4 in the afternoon, and it's pitch black outside. And surely I haven't been in this building for over 12 hours, and second of all, how is it 2015?
By this point, I'd sat down on one of the steps, my left hand supporting my head, and my phone loosely held in my right. I wanted to call the police, but I feared I'd be made a fool out of. I thought about it over and over, then finally concluded I'd much rather be made a fool out of by officers than left stranded in an abandoned hotel and stuck on a never-ending floor. I unlocked my phone's screen to dial the 3 magical numbers when my heart skipped a beat again. I couldn't believe my own eyes. 3:45. July 14th, 2013. What? I locked and unlocked the phone once more. 10:56. March 29th, 1959.
Nope, fuck off. I dropped the phone out of my hand on purpose and let it crash to the floor. I heard the inevitable smashing sound as it hit the cement, screamed down, and I closed my eyes with pure regret. I stood up and paced in a circle on the tiny platform between levels. Ba-ding! I was pretty shocked that my phone was still alive, never mind receiving messages. The moment I leaned over to retrieve my half-broken phone, a loud and brain-shattering crash echoed throughout the stairwell. Up and down, the sound reverberated back and forth against itself, which somehow made it even louder, and I instinctively covered my ears. The sound was harrowing, terrifying, and disturbing in many ways that I just can't quite describe. It was freezing cold and whipping about my body like some sort of sound wind. I had to climb 22 more flights of stairs before I could no longer hear the sound and finally feel my fingers again. It was much darker up here, though, and I set up camp anyway. This is now my floor.
By this point, I'd already lost touch with reality and had absolutely no clue as to what time it was. I'd sat in a slump and began to cry. Basic human instinct. Can't stop smiling. I've been desperately crying while the lights went out. The sudden darkness gave way to the beginning of my madness. I screamed for a very long time. I screamed and screamed and screamed. I screamed until my voice finally gave way. I imagined the inside of my throat as a chunk of raw meat that had been rubbed raw with coarse sandpaper.
After my voice collapsed, I started on the walls. I didn't want to use my hands, so I kicked them instead, over and over again, eventually breaking every single toe. When the adrenaline ran out and I could no longer stand, I fell into deep and agonizing pit of despair for what seemed like years. Ba-ding! Oh my god, stuck in my own madness, I'd completely forgotten about my phone. I unlocked the phone full of hope, and the light shot through my retinas like lasers, and I attempted to let out a little scream, but nothing would escape my vocal cords now, so my mouth just draped open in anguish. 12:15, 2nd of January 2019. This time I just smiled. I walked into this building on the 2nd of January 2009. My screen was only slightly smashed, so I could still use it. First I tried calling Tommy again, but there was no dial tone, and the voice that spoke was not what I expected to hear. It was low and whispering, raspy and fast. Take the leap to the 49th. 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 I hung up, smiling, and tried calling the police. Take the leap to the 49th. 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 I hung up again. My shoulders were swiftly moving up and down in accordance with my soundless laughter. It felt pretty good. Now I can't stop silently laughing to myself.
I wanted to claw my own eyes out by this point, and needed something to keep my hands occupied. So I decided to tell you all my story here. I thought maybe someone might get a kick out of it, or maybe someone can even help me. I don't know. I kind of want to take that leap, if I'm honest. The thought just makes me smile. After all, it's just basic human instinct.
When my smiling face hit the floor, I thought it was finally all over. The air felt warm as it rushed through my raw windpipe. Maybe it wasn't warm, maybe I'd just been cold for so long. If you think you'd be able to keep your eyes open in free fall, then you're wrong. I can tell you now it's impossible. I can also tell you that you will feel unbelievable agony. Is it worse than the spiral of insanity? Well, yes, maybe. Imagine the worst hangover you've ever had, and then multiply that by 1,000. Then take a drill to your skull and repeatedly drill for 10 years. That would roughly match the immense pain of one's head. Smashing clean into the ground.
When the pain finally stopped, and I opened my eyes, Tommy was waving the bottle of whiskey in my face.
Hey, do you want any more, or what?
We were sat on the curb across the street from the hotel I'd just slept from.
Huh? What the fuck? Tommy was persistently and drunkenly weaving the bottle closer and closer to my face until I finally grabbed it from him and pushed his drunken ass away from me. I drank that whiskey like it was crisp and fresh water from the Swiss Alps. I took in a deep breath once I'd finished, expecting to vomit the whole thing back up again, but my stomach seemed to be handling it. Perhaps my brain told my stomach to hold it in. Wait until the toxins at least reach me, dude, then you can throw up all you want.
My mind was running at half capacity, and I could barely think. My memory was starting to become foggier by the second, as I passed the bottle back to Tommy, and I was pretended to listen to his drunken nonsense of story, but in reality, I couldn't hear a single word he was saying. My eyes locked onto the person standing in the window, peering out at us.
The silhouette could only just be made out. They were standing in the darkness, directly in the center of the first floor window pane. It was unsettling, feeling their eyes on us, watching us. Tommy accidentally hits me in the face with his forever flailing arms, and I bat him away once more. Dude, ow! Watch what the fuck you're doing. Hey, sorry man, but listen, I lost interest once more and returned my focus to the person in the window, the one who is no longer there.
I squinted my eyes as if to zoom in on the window across the road. Nothing. I could hear music. Tommy finally stopped talking. I guess he could hear it too. The music got louder as he pulled his phone from his jacket pocket.
You're ringing me from your pocket again, dude. Oh, I patted my own jacket to search for my phone. I stood up and checked every pocket I was wearing. No phone. Where is it? Wait. I pointed at the hotel building across the road and confusingly looked back at Tommy. Did I already go in there? What? Tommy looked more drunk than confused, and I realized I wasn't getting a competent answer from him anytime soon. Tommy, I think you should just go home, mate. You're too drunk and in need of a bed. I expected him to give more of a fight. He normally does when he's this inebriated, but he instantly nodded his head in agreement and slowly began to rise to a wobbling mess of a stance, and I watched him slowly sway down the street and eventually out of sight. As I walked into the shadows of the side alley, I fell over something metal that clanged and echoed throughout. It was a crowbar. I couldn't see, but I knew what it was. I felt around in the darkness for the door I somehow knew was there. I popped the crowbar into the tiny slither between the door frame and jimmied the fire door open with one swift movement.
That was easier than I thought. A beam of light escaped through the narrow opening of the door. I poked my fingers through it and quickly pulled the door open. The light was pure and ultra-bright. It took me a moment for my eyes to adjust and stop squinting. Whoa, have I done this before? 6, 7, 8. I take the steps 2 by 2 with my eyes constantly on the ground, searching for my lost phone. Is it even in here? 23, 24, 25, 26.
Was I expecting to find it? No. Did I find it? Yes. In the middle of the platform of the 26th floor, the moment I leaned over to retrieve my half-broken phone, a loud and brain-shattering crash echoed through the stairwell. Up and down, the sound reverberated back and forth against itself, which somehow made it even louder, and I instinctively covered my ears. Okay, that's a really strange feeling. Have I actually done this before? I curl into a ball and sit in the corner of the platform between levels. The sound wind whipped around my face and body as I hid from reality behind my own arms like a 5-year-old child. Throughout the howling, I could hear approaching footsteps increasingly getting louder. Someone's coming up the stairs and I'm still slumped in the corner, but now I bravely raised my head.
My mouth fell open in disbelief as the familiar figure came into view up the stairs. It was me. I'm surprised I moved at all, but as he strolled past me completely ignoring my presence, I reached out to see if he was real. But as he was moving pretty fast, and I just only managed to graze his leg. I say graze, but it was more like I went through him. Me. Do I follow him? Yes, no, okay, I don't know. Wait, send him a message. I unlocked my phone, got rid of the current Reddit page it was open to, and typed out a message to him myself. Get out! Honestly, I didn't know what else to put.
Ba-ding! I heard the phone's tone vibrate down through the stairs. Surely he'd message back. Will he, though? Oh my god, I'm getting so confused. After waiting a couple of minutes and receiving no reply, I decided to take a different approach. I had no idea what was happening, but I had to do something. I figured if I couldn't touch him or me, then I had to at least try and get his or my attention. I I still had the crowbar with me, and I acted on the sudden idea before I fully thought it through. I flung the crowbar over my shoulder and swung it like a baseball bat as fast and as hard as I could, at the window pane of the 26th floor. The single pane shattered into a billion pieces, flying in all directions, including my face and open mouth. Hundreds of tiny shards fly to the back of my throat, and I began to gag and gasp for air. I swallowed hard, lining my windpipe with sparkling diamonds, and I continued to swallow over and over to take away the agonizing sting. From my shattering blow, the sound wind returned and whisked up and down through the stairwell once more. I could now hear crying and whimpering in the distance upstairs. Was it him? He'd been desperately crying for a while the lights went out. Fuck.
The sudden darkness gave way to the beginning of his screams. He screamed for a very long time. He screamed and screamed and screamed. I covered my ears, but it helped nothing. After he finally stopped screaming, I guess his voice gave in. I could hear him hitting the walls, kicking or punching them over and over again. After what seemed like an eternity, the pounding finally stopped, and the atmosphere fell into a deep and agonizing pit of despair for what seemed like years. I thought I'd try and message him again. I sent the same message. I heard the same ba-ding roar, but I never received a reply. As I waited, I decided to go through my phone and reopen the Reddit page I had closed before.
I read the entire entry I'd apparently already written, and the insanity spiral hit me like a crumbling tower of bricks. My phone lit up immediately. It was him. Him. My badly cut throat could only muster a low and raspy voice, and I said the only words I could think of. Take the leap to the 49th. Take the leap to the 49th. Take the leap to the 49th. Take the leap to the 49th.